Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel, and I'm talking about pop culture that we have had this spring. And I got my Derpy Tiger, I don't know if you can tell, my Derpy Tiger K-pop Demon Hunter sweatshirt on. So the female singers, the female voices for K-pop Demon Hunters were at Coachella. Now, I could care less about Coachella, but I'm just happy for them because they have had so many opportunities. They have had all of the performances on Tonight shows and the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. So I'm so happy for them. If you watched one of my other videos, you know that I lived in Korea. I lived in Seoul as a little girl. My family was stationed there. My dad was in the military, and we were stationed Hanam Village. And I grew up on K-pop. I grew up on K-pop before it became mainstream, before it became global, before it became popular in the United States, and like I said, before it became global. I have memories as a little girl when we would go eat kalbi, which is my comfort food, or bulgogi, and on the big TVs, because this was like the late 90s, on the big TVs in the restaurant, K-pop was on. And it was a K-pop boy band. And I don't know their name, but I remember them being on the TV. And I remember the dancing. And I remember loving it, loving the K-pop dancing. And for years, I had been like, why isn't this popular in America yet? Like, why has this not taken off? And so I'm so happy that K-pop finally has made it global. It's about time. But I have so many happy memories of living in Seoul, and that's one of the reasons why I love the movie K-pop Demon Hunters. There's spots in the movie, like that tower, the Seoul Tower. I remember that as a little girl, and there's places in that movie that I actually remember, and like the Derpy Tiger. I don't remember where, but I remember seeing that tiger when I was watching the movie. I was like, I know that tiger. I saw the tiger as a little girl. I don't know if I saw it like in school. Maybe we learned about it in school, and the magpie. And I have so many wonderful memories of living in Seoul. The people were so kind. They were so kind to us. They were so kind to my family. I have a hanbok. I have a little hanbok still that it's like pink and yellow, and I have a silk pink bathrobe with my initials on it and little slippers, and I have traditional Korean dolls. My mom got a bunch of beautiful Korean pottery while we were living there. I have so many happy memories of shopping. I would shop with my mom. We would go to Handaemun and Dandaemun and Itaewon, and we had so much fun. And so also in Seoul, they have like a big fish market, and like my brother loves seafood, and I remember, if you've been, you've seen this, there would be like squid and octopus, and there'd be like fish, and the fish would be hanging with like their eyes and stuff. And so as a little kid, I was like, ooh, fish, like with their eyes. But my brother, he loved squid. I'm not a fan of squid, but we just have so many wonderful memories. And because we were in Seoul, and this was the late 90s, we got all the high tech before it came to the States. I had Game Boy Advance, so did my brother. We had Game Boy Color. I had a purple Game Boy Advance, Game Boy Color. And in Korea, we got like 100 games on one chip. And it was funny because the games, the titles were in Korean or they were in Japanese. So we had no idea like what the games were about or what we were even playing. And so like there was a Sailor Moon game. I had no idea like what the characters were saying. And so we used to make up stories to the video. Me and my brother, would make up stories to the video games we would play. And maybe that was part of the reason why we became writers, because we had to use our imagination. Like, I had no idea what was going on. And it was like years later that I even found out that in Sailor Moon they're reincarnated because it wasn't in English. And when we lived there, we only got 3 channels that were in English, and when we lived on base, and so we got the only channels we got was Cartoon Network. I can't remember what the other 2 were. Maybe it was like the news or something, but we got Cartoon Network, so we watched a lot of Dexter's Laboratory, Johnny Bravo, and and we watched a lot of VHS. Like, we watched a lot of Batman animated series and Batman Beyond, and a lot of things on VHS, because we didn't have all the channels in English. Like, in English, we only had 3. So that's why my 90s experience as a kid is a little bit different than some other people's experience. But we had, like, I remember in Korea, they had like the cell phones, like when that was starting to come about, before America did. So like, and I have happy memories of my dad had like this moped type bike thing, and we would ride through the city, and I felt so cool riding on it. So I have a lot of happy memories, and this is kind of a funny memory. So I've taken martial arts. I've taken Hapkido and Taekwondo, and I took Hapkido as a little girl when I lived in Seoul, and I took Taekwondo when we were stationed at Fort Knox later on. But anyways, so the funny story is my dad was at work, and I had class after one of my classes, and my dad was like, "Oh, like, sweetie, show me what you learned." And I was like, "Okay, daddy." And I throat punched my dad by accident. And then I was like, "And this is how you finish the job," during the final move. And I was really little. When we left Korea, I was 7. So I might have been like maybe 6 when this happened. But anyway, so I have a lot of happy stories and stories that I could tell, and funny stories I could go on about Seoul, Korea. But I love Seoul. I would love to go back. And my brother and I got the Pokemon cards before it blew up in America. We got the Pokemon cards, and we had Pokemon cards that are in Japanese. And we had the Pokemon craze. It blew up there, and we experienced all that before the United States. And we had the Pokemon, I think it was called Yellow, the Pokemon Game Boy Advance game. We had the Beauty and the Beast Game Boy game. We had so many of the games. And in Korea, I could go on about Korea, but in Korea they had the dance machines. There used to be dance machines everywhere out on the street, and there used to be, like, when we were kids, I remember this is a happy memory. So they had Pokemon ice cream, and they had, like, it was like something at a Disney World, and so there was like Pikachu ice cream, and Pikachu's eyes are made out of like gumballs. And it was almost like kind of like a ice cream Mickey, like, I guess is the best way to describe it, only it was Pikachu. And then we had where they were like freeze pops, but they were Pokemon, and they were like in molds. I don't know if I'm explaining this the right way. And so, but they were like, so there were like Bulbasaurs and Squirtle, like freeze pops, like in the shapes of them. So we just had such a fun time, and I could go on about the treats. I love the chocolate. They're everywhere now, in America, but the chocolate mushroom biscuit cookies, where they look like a mushroom, like, and it's chocolate, like, looks like a mushroom top and then like the biscuit looks like the stem. But anyways, but so I'm really, really happy for EJ and for those, for the other female singing voices and for the whole cast of K-pop Demon Hunters. I was so happy that they won the Oscar. They deserved it. I'm so happy for them. I'm not gonna go on any further because about that whole thing, because I try to stay positive on my channel. But what I will say is, you know that saying life imitates art? Well, it was kind of ironic that how in the movie K-pop Demon Hunters, they get interrupted on stage by soulless monsters that look human. And that's that's what the Oscars was like. So shifting from K-pop to country music, two best things, K-pop and country music. So Ella Langley's music video, Choosing Texas, which that song has been #1. I liked the music video. I thought it was very thematic. Now, I wish there would have been like a little bit of revenge in there, but that's the Sicilian woman coming out of me. But that it was very thematic, and that's what music videos used to be like. It was a mini movie to music. And it was so clever too, because I realized after Ella Langley released her full album, they included the songs in that music video, her other songs, you can hear them. And I loved the song Butterfly Season. I love that song. I think it's great. I also liked From the what's it called? From the Bottom of My Boots. That one was really good. A lot of the songs are really great on the album. And so the country music girls, they're just killing it. And Lainey Wilson, so I talked about this in my one video, how she sang a song with Brandon Lake called The Jesus I Know Now, and really, really, really pretty song. Very emotional, very meaningful. I bought the song, and I thought their voices were great together. I thought they were a great duet. And also, I thought Lainey Wilson, I liked her singing Younger You with Miley Cyrus. I felt like their voices were great together. I actually like that version, Younger You, with Lainey Wilson and Miley Cyrus more than the first one. I watched the Lainey Wilson documentary, and I know that it has taken Lainey Wilson, she said 14 years, and I feel like I read that, for her to get to her success, which give her major props for that. But I felt like, Lainey Wilson's my age. She's 33. And I feel like, she's still young. And I feel like there's still that people shouldn't do documentaries or memoirs yet when they're still young, because you don't know what else they could do, what other success that they're gonna have. And so I feel like you kind of gotta wait a little bit longer before you have a documentary or have a memoir. That's just my opinion. And I've discovered Carter Fave, and I think she's got a beautiful voice, and I like the music video that she did, When You Know It's Love, and the actor who played JJ from Outer Banks is in it, and I liked that music video. The country music videos are just killing it. They're just killing it right now. And I love the songs from Carter Fave, Goodbye and Lay Your Heartache Onto Mine. They're songs from the show Landman. And I also like Late Bloomer from her. So, and she's just got a beautiful voice. So I just feel like I said in my video about country music, I feel like there's just been a lot of people, like there's been a lot of authenticity with country music right now. And there was a song with Noah Cyrus and Blake Shelton called New Country that I liked, and this came out a bit ago, but I was listening to it and I was like, that, when I heard Blake Shelton's voice, I was like, he sounds so familiar. And then I realized, oh, it's Blake Shelton. But so I like that song, and it makes sense that Noah Cyrus would like go for the country music scene because her dad is Billy Ray Cyrus. And Miley Cyrus has, even though like quote they've never have claimed it, she has sung country music. Like, for one, her accent, but two, like The Climb sounds like a country song, and she sang Younger You of Lainey Wilson, which that sounded like a country song. And a sweet country music story I want to tell is, while my dad was stationed in Afghanistan, the great late Toby Keith performed in Afghanistan while my dad was there. Toby Keith performed for the troops, and my dad said that Toby Keith was great. And so that was just a memory that a story I wanted to share. Toby Keith really did care about American soldiers, and he really did care about the troops. So, moving on from music to TV shows. The Darth Maul show, oh my gosh, that is so good. It is so cool. Like, it's everything I wanted to see in a Star Wars movie or a Star Wars show. Like, we finally get to see the underworld, like Boba Fett. I liked the show, but it wasn't like very dark, criminal, underworld. Like, the characters, the mob type guys on the Darth Maul show, they're shooting each other. It's very Star Wars. We've got that. We got the Jedi in hiding, and the lightsaber fights are so cool. Like, this show is seriously, it's amazing. Like, the lightsaber fights are, like I said, are just so amazing, and it's so cool. And it's like John Wick meets Star Wars. Like, you got criminals, and you got Jedi, and you got Darth Maul, and it feels like Star Wars, and it's like what I would have loved to have seen in the sequels or in the Star Wars live action stuff. Like, the kind of fight scenes and battles, I like the characters, but the Darth Maul show, bravo, Dave Filoni, bravo. And I just watched the season 4 premiere of The Way Home, which I got a whole video about that if you want to check that out. I'm excited that we're going to the 20s this season. I don't know why Dell read those letters in The Way Home, like, that were meant for Kat. I feel like Dell is always doing dumb stuff. Like, it's like you're gonna like bring up old wounds, and like Dell in all of the seasons of the show was always fighting with Kat, and she snapped at Alice, and like she didn't talk to her daughter, didn't even meet her granddaughter until Alice was like a teenager. So it's like, really, Dell, you're gonna read these letters? But anyways, so that's just my rant about that. And also, Dell always is like confused. Like, how many times does Kat have to say to her, Mom, think, can you remember this? But anyways, I'm excited that we're going to go to the 20s, and in the sneak peeks, we are going back to the late 70s and I think the early 80s. And in the sneak peek, we saw, I think it's Evie's husband, because Alice and Colton are at Lingermore Manor. So Alice obviously goes back to the 70s or early 80s, and Evie's there, and I'm like, oh my gosh, is this loser the guy that Evelyn marries. Evie deserves so much better. Evelyn better not be dead, and she better be time traveling, because I love her character. She deserves so much better. And then we got Daredevil, which Daredevil Born Again season 2, which I feel like has been mega slow this season. I feel like it didn't pick up until the episode with Bullseye, which that was pretty cool. The part where he's in the diner and he's like, "Oh my gosh, the Punisher's in here," and then he just like takes out the task force. But so that was some really cool action scenes. And I liked seeing Jessica Jones again, but she was only in it for like 5 minutes. And the Punisher's not in it this season. So it's been a little slow for me. Like I said, I'm so happy for the K-pop Demon Hunters cast and crew, and the voice actresses and the female singer, those singers who did the female voices. That's how it's done. If you liked this video, please give it a big thumbs up and please subscribe. Thank you guys for watching my video. Let me know what has been your favorite spring pop culture thing. Has it been a favorite show, a favorite song, a favorite artist? Let me know in the comment section below. I'd love to hear from you guys, and I will see y'all next time. Bye!